pushes it down and flies the plane right into the ground.
Oh.
So like people made fun correctly of Soviet technology, but it turns out they were actually pretty good at this. You know, they produced a lot of chess players. They're not stupid people at all. And neither are the Ukrainians for that matter. But anyway, the point is the Russians were never going to lose, period. And anyone who looked at it objectively would know that, except no one in the United States knew that. So that kind of freaked me out. I'm like, we have a big country, smart country, the most advanced country in the world, supposedly, and nobody even knows a basic fact.
Who's really winning?
Like, Russia has 100 million more people. Of course, they're not going to lose to Ukraine. Like, that's insane. And yet, nobody knew that. So I thought, wow, what else don't we know?
Yeah.
You know? And like, just the amount of lying that you can do in a world where everything is controlled. All information is controlled, with the exception pretty much of Twitter. Because the guy who owns it has said he's not going to censor.
Yeah,
That's
Elon,
scary.
it's nice. I feel like that's one thing that I thought was that, yeah, maybe that's it. That's what's about censorship, is at least you feel like you can say things or that things can be shared on there. Because
Do you feel, I mean, as someone who writes comedy, who does this every day, do you feel freer on the platform now?
on Twitter,
Yeah.
I feel like at least if YouTube takes me down.
Oh, look at that. Comedy is legal on this platform. So Elon like specifically endorsed your right to say.
Yeah, it
what
was
you
nice of him. We had Roseanne Barr on, and she's
I like her a lot.
Oh, dude, she fucking did so much for comedy. She did so much for women and gays. And
Oh, wait, I saw part of that.
and they Hollywood threw under the fucking bus as soon as they had a chance because they are heartless. And so anyway, she was on my show, and she
Wait, I saw that. And they took, tell me if I'm misremembering this, they took a line that she had and they cut out all the context and put it like on TikTok, and it made her sound like she was a crazy person or a vicious person, which she's not, either one.
Yeah,
of those.
she's a Jewish, I mean, she was born Jewish. I think she's still Jewish, right?
She is.
And so she said, and the Holocaust never happened, right? She said sarcastically, right?
Of course, I think she had relatives who died in it.
Yes. Yeah, very obvious, right?
Of course.
And some guy on Twitter, Sam, I don't know what the guy's name was, something Fuckelstein or somebody, he fucking made a big deal about
Oh,
it.
from the Minneapolis Fuckelsteins.
Yeah, probably.
I know them.
This dude, this was 2 weeks after, right? Makes a big deal about, or just put that clip in or whatever, no context. So then YouTube took that episode down. But we got to put it on Twitter. So that was nice, at least because it was an honest place, you know? But what I worry about is like, didn't some of these companies, didn't Twitter or Facebook, didn't they get in trouble for not letting, like, during election times, like not real information being allowed to be shared?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who would get them in trouble. They run everything. And, you know, my concern would be, as we're getting to this election, it's very intense. You know, I think they're, very intense people on both sides. And if you actually had a platform that was open for everyone to say what he or she thinks, that's a massive threat to the asshole community. And I think that because the truth is always a threat to liars. That's just right. That never changes. People are killed never for lying, ever. They're only killed for telling the truth. You're only punished for telling the truth. When people get mad, it's because you told the truth. Everyone should know that. So, I mean, I can't imagine the pressure that's going to come to bear on this company, X now, over the next year. I mean, it's going to be without precedent, I think.
Do you think Elon could be, there could be like even an assassination attempt on him or something?
I would never speculate about something like that, but I just think there's,
just
you can't.
You're a guy at a bar. What are you going to say,
I think there's going to be, I would have a food taster. I mean, I think, look, the one thing if you're doing a great job at something, if you're a great father, great husband, great employer, great comedian, you're not too worried because you're doing a good job. But if you're doing a bad job and the only beneficiary of your work is you and everyone else is getting screwed and they can't even afford to fill up their truck or buy groceries and you're still getting rich, you're very worried. Dictators are always worried about their own security, okay? So what's the biggest threat to you? The biggest threat is someone calling you out. And so you have to shut down any medium where that could possibly happen. So obviously Facebook is completely controlled. Google is completely controlled. TikTok, foreign-owned company, God knows what their agenda is. So really the only big platform that's pretty not controlled with apparently some limits But in general, it's not controlled. It's
X.
free speech. It's X.
I agree.
So like, there's a lot at stake. Legitimate leaders don't worry about this. If I'm a legitimate leader, if I'm a good father, and one of my kids is like, I want to smoke weed at the breakfast table, you're like, you can't, sorry. Because I make the rules, no weed at the breakfast table. I'm not worried about saying that because I think I'm a pretty good father and I think my kids think I'm a pretty good father. But if I'm a terrible father who's abusing my kids, I can't let them say anything because the authorities might find out. Like I could get punished for what they know. And that is the same attitude that every dictator has. That's why all dictators take the guns and impose censorship. Is the first thing they do. They don't want to throw you in prison. It's expensive. It's difficult. Right. They don't want to execute you. They just want you to shut up and be obedient. And Elon Musk, in buying this platform and opening it up to all positions, even unpopular ones, is the single greatest threat to their hegemony, to their control. And, I'm not predicting their response, but I mean, it's going to be intense, super intense. I can say that.
Would you have security and that sort of thing if you were him? Would you have like somebody, would you make sure that the Tesla truck, which is supposed to have been out for 17 years, but that it has extra bulletproofness in the glass?
I would definitely include as a standard feature, not an add-on, the oil tanks that drop the oil onto the road behind you so that people pursuing you spin out and
Spy Hunter?
go right into a bridge abutment or off the side of the mountain, off Mulholland. You know what I mean? I would definitely do that. And I'd have like hidden machine guns under the side view mirrors. I'd have a death ray possibly. That would probably be a custom feature, but I would have stuff like that. Yeah, for sure.